Welcome back to the bench. So today we're going to talk about the BRN-4, which is the discount 416 that you can get at home, and it is affordable. You can buy this entire upper for around $1,100. You do have to piece it together, you do have to put it together, but we'll talk about all of that in this video. We'll talk about barrel profiles, we're going to talk about the accuracy testing that I did with this, and we're going to talk about just general feel. We'll get into general feels kind of first. One, general feel weight. It's very weighty. This is a very heavy upper, especially in 14.5. That's what this is. Now, this is the medium contour barrel. In talking about the medium contour barrels, there's a heavy profile barrel or a heavy contour barrel and a medium contour barrel. The heavy contour barrels are more closely related to the first generation of the HK416. It's not too bad. It is very heavy. In the medium profile, I can only imagine that it gets heavier from there. It is extremely nice. Flat shooting. It does shoot incredibly flat. It's got, my buddy Adam said he put about 1,400 rounds, I could say, about that on this upper. I put an additional 500. We were able to kind of clean this thing out just a little bit, and then we were able to do some accuracy testing with it. I do think that Adam did shoot a little bit of this with some steel case. I could very well be wrong. Adam, put your comment down below. I do like how well this is built. Now, I will say, there is one issue that I've had with this upper receiver, and apparently my friend Adam has had with it too. This upper receiver, as you can see here, it does have the dovetail that goes right in there, but it is pulling out a little bit. When I originally received this, it was pushed all the way back. And throughout shooting and doing all that fun stuff, it has slowly pulled itself forward. Now, it does have a locking nut in here, and I will show you that here in just a little bit. It does have a locking nut in here that kind of doesn't allow this thing to come all the way off, but it is lifting forward, and I don't know if that is just how the barrel nut is mating with the upper receiver or something like that, but that is one of the issues. Also, huge shout out to Brownells, because Brownells does make this. This is Brownells' big thing. Faxon does make the barrels for these, but Brownells does have some sort of person or company out there making the BRN-4 and all the other fun stuff. Now, you can go ahead with the original HK quad rail. They do have those still on the site, but Midwest Industries did send this out to my friend Adam for review. This is a nice handguard. Midwest Industries makes a ton of stuff for a bunch of different uppers out there, and I highly recommend, if you ever need a handguard you don't want to spend a fortune on, but they're very high quality, go head on over to Midwest Industries. They make everything. I have a ton of their handguards. Absolutely love them. All right, now getting into the feels. Shooting this for about 500 and something rounds, plus whatever I shot for accuracy testing, which I think was like 60 rounds for accuracy testing. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. I honestly like how this gun feels. It's the recoil impulse literally is directly back into your shoulder. That has a lot to do with the fact that this is a short stroke gas piston system, so it's just got a little tappet on the front of the bolt carrier group. The recoil impulse is fantastic. It literally sits in your shoulder. It doesn't move. It shoots flat, and it's one of those things that's a perceived feeling for me. It does not have a ton of recoil. Now, a lot of that probably does have to do with the weight. As I said, if I did not already roll in the weights, I should roll them in now. I believe this upper receiver is sitting somewhere around 5-ish pounds. You'll see the exact weight right now. It is an incredibly heavy upper receiver for what it is, but it's not bad. When I go ahead and tell you that, you carrying it around would suck. If you had to go on a hike or do anything like that with this thing, go on a ruck march, this would probably blow Pop-Tarts out your rear end, because this thing is absolutely not one of those guns that just kind of, feels comfortable. One of the cons also to this gun is that it does have to be built. Now, if you don't have tools or anything like that, and you don't want to go to your local gunsmith, I completely understand that. Most of them are incompetent. But going to your local gunsmith and having them put pieces together for you is definitely well worth it. It is a solidly built, very good upper receiver. I do think the issue with the splitting or the pulling forward of the handguard, I think that has more to do with Midwest Industries than it does have to do with the HK platform in general. Because this is technically an HK platform. A lot of these receivers are still takeoffs of HK416s or the HK MR556 uppers. So you're either going to get a new production now from what Brownells is spinning up for these upper receivers, or you're going to get the old production HK MR556 or HK416 uppers. I don't know the difference. I don't care to know the difference. There will be cloners out there that will say something in the comments down below. I understand. There is a difference. Just one of those guns that is, you know, it's either going to itch the people who are in the cloning market for this, or it's not. They're going to be like, oh, it's not the right thing. It's not the real thing. If you want to spend $5,000 on a real HK, by all means, go ahead and do that. I think they're anywhere right now selling on Gunbroker for $4,000 to $6,000, or you can pick one of these up for $1,200. It's not bad. Use code BOP10 if you want to save, or Triggered. It's been a very good upper receiver. All right, now let's get into specs. A lot of people are going to be upset about this. We'll start with the barrel. It is a 1-in-8 twist, medium contour, not a heavy contour, medium contour, non-chrome lined barrel. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset about the non-chrome lined part. The chrome line thing that you have to worry about, that a lot of people are going to say, oh, why would you make a 416 barrel that's not chrome lined? These are phosphated barrels. Now, I do not know. I should probably look this up. There will probably be an asterisk somewhere in here. I do not know if the original HK416 barrels were chrome lined. I do believe to meet a military spec, they must be, because I believe that is the military spec. I could be wrong. But they're not chrome lined. That's a big deal breaker for a lot of people who are looking for these. Now, you can go pick up an original HK chrome lined barrel if that's what they make. You can go find one wherever you can find one, and you can piece this whole thing together and have more of a legitimate thing. But I don't think you're going to get a non-chrome lined, I don't think you're going to get any issues out of the non-chrome lined other than shorter barrel life, especially if you're just kind of dumping mags into trash like I tend to do because I LARP around, or if you're actually like doing like classes or competitions or anything like that where you're just using a ton of the barrel, and you're heating it up and you're cooling it down, you're heating it up and you're cooling it down, and you're doing things like that. You're going to get that barrel life that's going to lessen the amount of barrel life you're going to get from these phosphate coated barrels. Now, phosphate coating technically treats the metal, so you're doing good there. It's treating the metal, it's getting in there, it's permeating, and it's allowing it to keep the barrel life just a little bit longer than if you were to be like 416R stainless and it's uncoated. Phosphate coating does add a bit of protection, rust inhibiting factors, and all that other fun stuff. So you do get a lot out of this barrel, but it's not chrome lined, and a lot of people are saying, oh, but the barrels are relatively expensive. I think a lot of machining time has to go into them, and then when we go to take a look at all the other stuff here just a little bit. The upper receiver. The upper receiver is, I'm pulling this straight from Brownells, the upper receiver fits or exceeds standards for mil-spec requiremants for thickness, laser engraving, T-marks, and the BRN-4 logo. So that's what they've said for the upper receiver. It is billet. So it will have machining passes, as you can see up here. We'll get in real close here right now. You can see some of these machining passes right on here. They do happen. It's something that you really can't avoid. But everything on there is very nice. The upper receiver, I mean, once you get out and shoot it, you do all the fun stuff. Because this gun is meant to be shot. It's not meant to be a wall decoration. If that's what you want to do with it, it's up to you. I will not tell you what you should or should not do with your own firearms. Getting into the upper receiver, though, it's not bad. It's a high quality upper receiver. Now, there was a recall on some of these from Brownells. You can talk to them. They should have sent out an email to everybody who bought one. But the upper receivers some of them do need to go back or be exchanged because there's something going wrong with it. I don't know. I'll have to ask my buddy Adam. There will be a note down below or a pinned comment somewhere when it comes to the upper receiver on why you should be sending that back to Brownells and getting a new one. I believe that's why these upper receivers right now are on back order only, because they're shipping out the new ones to replace the old ones and doing all that other fun stuff. Now, Midwest Industries did send this out to my friend Adam. Now, this is their BRN-4 handguard, or the HK416 handguard, whichever one you want to call it. It is a very nice handguard. We're going to take all this apart real quick, and we're going to look at it. I'm going to kind of break it down for you. All right, so let's kind of break everything down here real quick. I have the bolt carrier group kind of taken apart here, and we're going to kind of show you everything that's up with this bolt carrier group. Now, this bolt carrier group is machined from 9310, heat-treated, magnetic particle inspected for defects, so it has all the fun stuff on it. It is HP tested, and I don't believe the bolt says that anywhere on here. It does not, but it is nitrided, so it does have like this very slick coating on here, almost like a melaniting, but it's a different sort of. I think melaniting and nitriding are very similar, which they give very similar results. So not a problem. Very high quality bolt carrier group. I'm not going to go in and break everything down here, but I did want to show it to you and kind of let you see. It does have the little cutout right there for the upper receiver. If you go in on the inside of the upper receiver, it does have this little area. It's for the HK upper receivers. I do know that for sure. Everything seems to be good here. There was a lot of brass shavings on the inside of here, and I do have a feeling that that was just due to the extraction force being put by the donut and the decent spring, because the spring actually does feel good. I will say that the lip here for this, it doesn't seem like it's quite spiky enough, but I've felt a lot of M4 bolt carrier groups, and your little extractor here, they seem a little bit more spiky. This one seems like it's going down, but as you can see, there is a ton of wear on this. This is a high wear part. It is used every single time the gun is fired, and it does do that. So I do recommend, Adam, that you do switch out your spring and your little donut here at some point in the future. Colt makes a good 5-coil spring that's gold plated. I don't believe this is a Colt one, but let's look. Nope, that is not a Colt one. That is just a standard spring there. So, firing pin, if you take a look at this, it does sit in there. It sits in a little spring. It's pretty cool. I actually do prefer that the firing pin is spring loaded. That is something that is very nice. So if you're out there and you're looking, this does have the spring loaded firing pin to prevent firing of ammunition when you drop the bolt. As you can also tell, that the firing pin has a different profile. So there we go. Not a bad thing at all. Definitely very, very good, well put together. All the parts are pretty high quality. All right, so if you're ever wondering about the Midwest handguard, it does come with its own, what is this called? Barrel nut screw or something, retention screw, and it is captive. The one is captive, so you don't have to worry about losing it. It's very high quality. It's good, but it does leak up a bunch of gas here. As you can see, all of that is gas coming out of where the piston is. And it just happens. That's the nature of piston guns. They all kind of have gas leak out towards the top. Here's your piston assembly of your piston cup right here. This is the part that sits inside the firearm. These are your rings right in here. They do come with rings. I am almost 100% certain the cup comes with rings. Again, I will see if that is the case, but you just put them on. It's like this is where your bolt carrier group would be, since the piston is up at the front. So there you go. Now, I'm not going to put this in here on camera, but I can show you guys right here. This is how your piston cup sits. This is how your piston assembly sits, and it kind of taps against your bolt carrier group going like so. And you'll notice right down here, it has this little flat part to clear your barrel nut, because you will need that because it does sit there. That's why you have the 416 upper. It does need that barrel nut in order. It does need the cutout at the bottom in order for the piston assembly to clear the barrel nut. And then as you can see, it kind of protrudes down in there, and that's how you get all the fun stuff. All right, so a couple of things before we jump into the accuracy of this whole entire upper receiver. One, the operation and all the other fun stuff on this thing is awesome. Cool part about the BRN-4 is you can only pin the gas block. So pinning the gas block is probably one of my favorite things with AR-15s. I don't trust gas blocks that aren't pinned, and not because of anything, but like there's just, there's that certainty that comes along with pinning the gas block that you're like, look, it's not going to come out unless I want it to come out. These do use a sweet coil pin. You can buy these in multiple packs, so if you ever want to take this apart, you can put in some brand new coil pins when you're done. They're always in stock at Brownells. Brownells did say for a fact that these aren't going to be a limited production thing, but as soon as the want for these goes down, they will, probably cease production at some point. These are straight up only parts kits guns. You cannot buy these complete unless, one of your local gun shops buys these complete, or buys these and puts them together, and then you have a complete BRN-4 upper. Brownells is one awesome company, so if you ever have a problem with your BRN-4, you can go ahead and send it in or talk to one of their gunsmiths, and they will get you out replacement parts. Also, a really cool feature about this entire thing right here, let me show you. Let me take this off real quick. The gas block right there, as you can see, I'm going to try to get my hand there so it focuses. Gas block has a little tab for indexing. So the gas block will always line up 100%, and it's with those cool coil pins right there. So I think that's actually pretty awesome. Now, let's get into the accuracy portion. All right, so accuracy testing. All right, so this is 77 grain Black Hills OTM. So this is good. This isn't the Reman or anything like that, but this is the 77 grain. Now keep in mind, this barrel is a 1 in 8 twist. It's not 1 in 7. I've had better luck with 1 in 7 with the 77 grain stuff, but we are looking at 2.5. These are all 10 round groups shot at 100 yards in 109 degree heat. So take the heat into accountability. It does mess with the groupings just a little bit, but center to center, 2.5 inches. So 2.5 MOA group if that's what you're gonna count on. But yeah, everything doesn't look like we have. Yeah, so that is our group. I was aiming right here with my mill dot right there, and I was aiming on the side because that's kind of how I like to do that. I will go ahead and state my Geisley URGI did do a better group than this. All right, I think our probably 2 best groups of the day here. This is 77 grain PSA Sierra Match King. So it is this ammo with the Sierra bullets. This is the 77 grain Sierra Match King stuff. Getting in on this guy, we're sitting at 1.5 inches. So this looks like our best group. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, 1.5 inches. Yeah, we're sitting right at. Oh, I'm sorry. Just under 1.75 inches. So 1.5 inches, 1 3/4. So this group definitely much better. I do like this group. 77 grain PSA stuff. I guess it does not like the whatever this stuff is. It doesn't like those, but it likes the 77 grain PSA stuff. One of the better 69 grain groups, but as you'll see here, this was the second shot of this group. Now, I will go ahead and tell you this is part of the group down there, so we'll talk about that later. I'll go ahead and tell you I reshot this group. So I shot this group and it actually ended up on the paper next to it, and this was one of those rounds. Now the paper next to it was literally right next to it. So that goes to show you point of impact shift from 77 grain to 69 grain stuff. So I had to move this over, and I went up just a little bit. I think I sent it up a little too high there, but it is what it is. So with this group here, farthest to farthest, 1 3/4 inches. So we're sitting right there at 1 3/4 inches. A little under 1 inch. 1 3/4 inches. So all of these groups, very good 1 3/4 inch groups. 69 grain AAC. I do believe this did outperform the federal stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. 2.25. Yeah, 2.25. So look at that. That's our largest group there. 2.5. Nope. 2 inches from right there. Let's see. Hold on. Let me find our largest one here. Yeah, we're chilling right at 2 inches. So this is a decent 2-inch group here. So that's not terrible. I think this is the widest. I did measure it a few times, but yeah, right at 2 inches, center to center. Maybe just a 1/16 over right there, but not a bad group at all. Now, I do love the Sierra Match King stuff that AAC has been loading. But I did go ahead and pick up a couple of boxes of this black stuff. Now, this is the 55 grain. I did not shoot the 55 grain. I shot the 62 grain. I actually shot this twice with this. This is an absolutely atrocious group. So this is the 62 grain black tip here. Now it's coming out at 3,025 feet per second. What they claim, I don't know. I didn't do that. This is, I shot this group twice. I shot this here, and I shot another one on another sheet of paper. This is like a 6-inch group, I think. We have 4.25 here, 3.5 here, just under 4 inches here. I mean, look at this. This right here, 3.5. 4.25. I mean, that's 10 rounds, 100 yards, 109 degree day. That stuff's not very good. I'm not getting great results out of the 62 grain. I will shoot the 55 grain out of my URGI at some point at 100 yards. But this stuff was just not good at all. I didn't shoot it out of my, because I only bought 20 rounds, and I did this group twice just to make sure that I didn't screw anything up. And this is atrocious. Like, I would not recommend this ammo if this is how it groups. Now again, I'm going to test more of it. I'm going to get some more 62 grain, and I'm going to test it on some different uppers. Maybe this upper just didn't like that 62 grain stuff. But I didn't test any non-match ammo because I only had an hour and a half, and I had to do my URGI and this. So I just did both. I knocked them both out. I took my time and all that other fun stuff, but it's definitely not one of those things that I take lightly. I shoot groups very well, and I don't like doing this. This is a 10-round group at 100 yards, 109 degrees outside, with the BRN-4, but I don't think it's the BRN-4. As we saw, the BRN-4 does give decent groups for what it is. It does not give a ton of accuracy when it comes down to it. And I shot all these from a bench, rested, all that. Like, there was no issues. These groups were just not that fantastic. All right, so my thoughts on the accuracy. I like the accuracy of this gun. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I did not expect this gun to be a sub-MOA gun. Never have, never will. That's not what I think of it. It's a fire support weapon. It's an infantryman's weapon. It's something like that. I do not think that you're going to get excellent groupings out of this. What I will say is this is right on par with the early M4 program. I think the barrels could probably be a little bit better, maybe tightened up. I know Faxon is all about accuracy, but I think what ended up happening is with this run of barrels, Faxon maybe had to tweak some stuff. Maybe these barrels aren't properly stress relieved. Maybe they don't shoot 10-round groups very well when they do heat up whatsoever. I would like to get a heavy barrel one of these in just to test out the accuracy of the heavy barrel. I did not. I will tell you guys, I cleaned the gun. I ran some lubricant on everything and did all that. And I did run my bore snake down there. I did not unfoul the chamber. I shot some rounds before we even did the actually testing, got it dirty again. So it's not like I shot all these on a clean, whistle clean chamber. And it was 110 degrees outside, sweat dripping in my eyes, and it was hot. So there we go. All right, my final thoughts on the BRN-4 upper receiver and 14.5 inches. I like it. It's a very fun gun to shoot. I do think it's excessively heavy for what it is, but again, this is not the heavy contour barrel. It could always be heavier. I do love how flat shooting it is, how wonderful it is, how nice it is to shoot, especially with the Warden on there. The Warden was fantastic to shoot with. My buddy did time the muzzle device for a right-handed person. While he times every one of his other muzzle devices for neutral, he timed this one for right-handed, and I had to run the Warden on this so that way I could shoot it and not have the gun just go everywhere and give me a bad taste in my mouth for the gun. I absolutely love the BRN-4. It does have its cons. It's not everything I want in a gun. I will tell you guys that right now. It is the BRN-180 and 16 inches is technically lighter than this gun by like a whole pound, if not more. And I like that gun more. It shoots just like this. It doesn't move very much. It's always just on point. It's just flat, just like this gun. There's something to be said for piston guns. They feel a little bit better than DI guns, and they're not as finicky, and they can take being suppressed and run hard and all that other stuff just a little bit better than DI guns. But DI guns, I mean, they work very well. It's a proven technology. I mean, my 13.9 that I have from Trajectory Arms is probably just one of the best just shooting uppers that I have, and it is fantastic and incredible, and I love it. And then coming to this, I mean, this, for an unsuppressed gun, it shoots fantastically. But this is just one of those whole things that is just it was a phenomenal gun to shoot. And thank you to my buddy Adam and Brownells. It's one of those that I would love to have. I do plan on SBRing one of my lowers here in the future and getting a 10-4 of one of these because it's honestly, they're fun. Like, they are fun. Would I go take on the world with one? No, but it is a fun gun to shoot. It's just one of those things. It's a range toy with some hard use applications. I mean, if you're a police officer or you want your end of the world gun, and for some reason you want to go with one of these, I highly recommend doing this. Now, again, parts commonality for versus DI guns, not very common. You will need a ton of extra parts. If you wear or break anything, you'll have to be replacing your own barrels and doing all that stuff. But the cool part is you're able to buy all this right now at Brownells at a significantly cheaper price than you would buy all of this if you were to get an HK MR556 or HK416 clone type rifle. These are so much better. So again, head on over to Brownells if you are looking at one of these. Use code TRIGGERED or BOP10 or anything. I wish I had a code with Brownells, but I don't right now. But use one of those codes over there with Brownells. They're an awesome company. They support a lot of creators. They are doing so much for the Second Amendment. If you guys don't know what Brownells is doing for the Second Amendment, do you even follow 2A News? Because Brownells is literally in the background of a lot of these people, and they love supporting the 2A, just like I love supporting the 2A, and I don't care who you are. I think we should arm everybody. Left, right, center, who cares? I want everybody to be armed, because armed America is just ready to go America, and I think one of these is definitely something that everybody should have in their gun collection, because who doesn't like the HK416? Well, besides the poors. And if you're a poor and you can afford one of these, by all means, go pick one up. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts, my review of the BRN-4. This is kind of a longer video. I do apologize about that. I hope everybody has a great one. And as always, be a hoodlum.
Jesus.